Hope is about getting out of the pool of human suffering. Yeah. This is an image I've worked for a whole bunch of years, getting some sense of our suffering and how long it's been around. I've been fascinated by Genesis 3 ever since I was very small, because I couldn't see how that which had given us life could punish us and not let us stay in its presence, in the wonderful place that it created. I just felt that the God that we described that threw us out couldn't be that God that created all things and loved us. So with this background then, my work has developed through the whole Hope work, and with that first story that was told me by a patient on the evening before a major surgical procedure, I started really becoming aware of this pool of human suffering, because it was obvious that it was pretty big. There were a lot of people in it. There were stories in it. And as I have studied human development and growth development and looked at human potential, I have been gifted with information that I'll share with you now. This pool that I'm talking about is huge and it's old. It's ancient. And it's a pool that's been created out of the developing human being, out of our ego years. Yet ego, that director that is devoted to keeping us alive and protecting us, defending us, attacking, going so far as to cause murder, rape, pillage, all of that. That's our suffering. And it started a long time ago. You know, I need to invite you into that space that's literal time, not figurative time, not mythological time. Mythological time for me is beautifully represented by the Hebrew calendar. This is year 5771. And that's all established by looking back in the records of the Old Testament, as we call it. However, we human beings are growing in intelligence and intensely curious about ourselves. I think this curiosity really, really speaks to it all. There's something that motivates us to find our meaning as human beings. And I've spoken to you about how you find your own. What's your worthy ideal? Okay, what is the worthy ideal for the human race? Let me just float that. And let's look at what we've gone through. Archaeology is a fascinating study that goes back, millions of years. But as far as human beings is concerned, the human culture got started about 100,000 years ago. And archaeologically speaking, we've looked at human bones of this age and then younger and younger and progressively younger until we get to about 30,000 years ago. And we find scarred human bones. Not scarred from animal teeth, but scarred from human weapons. I've seen a picture of this elbow bone, you know, of a human being called the ulna. And that bone has two slashes right across it, sharp-edged slashes, straight as a die. And we had obsidian and flint tools that could do that kind of a scar on a bone. 30,000 years ago. That's as old as we've got. That life then went on for many thousands of years, and we started to settle down. We started to be able to control our environment to the point where we could build communities of dwellings that protected us from the elements. And the oldest one that we've got is Jericho. Jericho's walls, or initial walls of the huts of Jericho, date back 11,000 years. We fortified Jericho 3,000 years later by building a great stone wall around it, 10 feet wide, 10 feet tall, with a 30-foot diameter tower on one side. That was when we defended the community 8,000 years ago. You see what's happening here? There's a progressive phenomenon going on. And it is, my friends, without single doubt in my mind, it's all fear-based. Well, I understand this. This is the young human mind brain exploring life, appreciating its dangers, and then taking fear and using it as a weapon. Yeah. This is all about fear, making the other person afraid. And we have a rich story that's huge and complex of all of the suffering that's gone on. And it's just a very simple thing about walls. The first walls in Jericho helped us protect ourselves from the sun and the rain and the wind. The next walls of Jericho around the community defended us from invaders from outside. Those walls, friends, have undergone an evolution, and I mean it, evolution. They are now silos of intercontinental ballistic missiles tipped with hydrogen warheads. That's where our fear of the last 30,000 years has taken us. Consider that, please. Consider now that all of the harm that we've done to each other and to our environment is related to our ability to fear. And consider, please, that fear is about being afraid of something that hasn't happened yet. As a matter of fact, when you take away that it hasn't happened yet, that's a projection to a time that doesn't exist. Take away the projection, and the philosophers from the East say, you become aware. Do 360s on black ice, and you're not afraid. You're doing your best to move that car, get it in a direction, and get back under control again. You're focused on living, not projecting. And that's being aware. Consider, too, that anger is a form of attack. And I'm directing my attack at a being over there, at something over there. It's not here, it's over there. Another form of projection to a space that is not mine, doesn't belong to me. Draw that projection in and become a presence. Okay? Now, my friends, let me suggest to you that we are in the very process of pulling in those projections, of looking at our past and our attachment to our past through shame, blame, and guilt, which is what Genesis 3 talks about, isn't it? And pull that projection to the past, which is an attachment. Okay? Projections and attachments in time and space need to come home. They have, and Eckhart Tolle points this out. His work, The Power of Now, helps tremendously, and I recommend that to people. Pull in the attachments and the projections and be a presence that is aware and accountable for itself. Now, that presence, awareness, and accountability leads us, as it were, to the surface of this huge pool of human suffering. And it's light up there, and it's attractive, and it's scary. And you get up to it, and the bravest thing you can do is stick a hand through it, and it feels entirely different. It's like, ooh, bring it back. And yet it's still enticing, and it draws you. And more of the hand going up, and the arm goes up, and the arm goes up and out into an environment that is totally strange, but not quite totally strange. There's something familiar about it. So it starts moving around. And then suddenly, your hand grasps another hand that's outside. And gentle pull, and you rise up and out of the pool by becoming present, aware, and accountable. And there's a human being just like yourself, standing at the edge of the pool. And here you are, bedraggled, burdened by all of the past, but you're beginning to get free of it. And this wonderful being, that's just another human being like yourself, says, welcome. Do you want to stay here? You want to move on? Or you want to get back in? Is it too scary? You can do what you need, because you'll be back. Because you're beginning to remember something, aren't you? You're beginning to remember. This is somehow familiar with you. We've just been away from it for a long, long time. So come on. Look, get yourself cleaned up. There's a nice building over there where you can find clean clothes. You can clean the clothes that you've got. You can take a shower and a shampoo, towel down, get dressed, get comfortable. I'll be waiting for you on the other side. And then that building over there, that's the cafeteria. We can go and talk about what we're doing here. You know, and we'll find a bunk for you, and you'll get accustomed, and there are classes, and we'll teach you, and you'll learn, and you know, you'll start remembering something that you'd forgotten a long time ago. And I'm talking to all human beings. And in A Course in Miracles, it's beautifully phrased. It's a forgotten song. It's a forgotten song. And it's not really forgotten. We remember. And so getting out of the pool, we remember, but caution. It's a great temptation to go back to the edge of the pool and try and find somebody else in there that you can haul out. They'll pull you back down. You go back down in. No. You wait until that hand comes out. And it disappears. And it comes out. And it disappears. And it comes out. And finally gets out. And now it's your turn to take it. And help that person out. And show them how they can remember that forgotten song. Because that beautiful thing, that beautiful song is now remembered. And now we know. And we're learning from this beautiful song why we're here. What gives our life meaning, value, and purpose? What is the worthy ideal of and for humanity? And you're out. And there are three things about getting out: compassion, forgiveness, and hope. And we'll cover them in the next video. Thank you for being with me.